Shalom and bracha from Yerushalayim, the entire Jewish people, following the international system of study. It's beginning this week the new reading of the cycle of the Torah, and the first section is the section of Bereishit, the very beginning of Genesis. With your permission, I wanted to study one aspect of the Torah with you. The rabbis teach in the Talmud that maybe it's important to understand the very nature of the book that we're about to begin. The number one bestseller in world history, of course, is Torah. Printed more times than any other book, more languages than any other book, more commentaries than any other book. But if you want to understand what is the Torah, so one commentary writes here, one of the teachings in Talmudic literature seems to point to the fact, I'll read it to you. This is in Tractate Sotah, page 14a. Darash Rabbi Simlai. Rabbi Simlai taught the following teaching. The Torah begins with Chesed and ends with Chesed. Torah, Techilata, Gemilut Chasadim, and Sofa, Gemilut Chasadim. Well, what would you say about a book that starts with Chesed and ends with Chesed? Can you tell me something about the kind of book it is?
It's about chesed.
What?
It's about chesed.
It's, if you have no time to read anything, just read the beginning and the end. That's it. The beginning is chesed, the end is chesed. Everything is chesed. Torah tchilata gemilut chasadim, sofa gemilut chasadim. That's what it says here. Now the last statement it says about God in the Torah is, anyone remember? We just read it on Simchat Torah a few days ago. What's the last thing? The last statement about Hashem in the Chumash. What the action? The last action that Hashem does. Vayikbar oto bagai. God buries Moshe, and that's considered a form of chesed, one of the highest levels of chesed. To deal with the
he kisses him. Yeah?
What?
He kisses him.
It says that he dies by the mouth of God. Yes, I'm not sure that the word kiss is expressly used in the text. Yes, but yeah, it says that Moshe died al pi Hashem. That's at the very end of the Torah. The action.
Bereshit's like
What?
Bereshit is the biggest chesed.
Yeah. So the Torah ends. I mean, that's pretty straightforward. The last positive statement here is that Vayikbar oto bagai be'eretz Moav mul beit Pa'ar. That Hashem buries Moshe. By the way, your sentence about by the mouth of God is a sentence before this. So this would even if you take that as the last sentence. Okay, the Torah ends in the Chesed. Then the Gemara says that the Torah begins in the Chesed. Now, if I had to choose a text, I would not choose this one. What's the text? What's the proof text that's chosen in the Talmud?
Clothes them.
Yeah, that God made clothing for Adam and Eve. Vayas Torah tchilata gemilut chasadim. The Torah begins with chesed. Tichtiv vayas Hashem Elokim la'adam u'lishto katnot or vayalbishem. God made these clothes, these special garments, these special leather garments for Adam and Eve, and clothed them. Which, by the way, Rav Sa'adya Gaon says, means not that God necessarily made the clothes, but gave them the wisdom to know how to manufacture clothing. It's just a parenthetical comment of Rav Sa'adya. Even though the text says that God made it, maybe making it means allowing them, affording them the opportunity. The commentaries ask, and I once heard this teaching from Rabbi Scheinberg, may Hashem bless him, a great rabbi here in Yerushalayim. Rav Scheinberg said that he read in certain Musar book, that's not the first sentence of Chesed of Hashem in the Torah. Do you have one before that? Well, maybe the whole creation is Chesed. The whole world is Chesed. The creation of all of the benefits of this world. The whole world is beautiful. The whole world is filled with blessing. The very creation of Adam is Chesed. The creation of Eve for Adam. The creation of Chava for Adam is Chesed. The Gan Eden, the Garden of Delights is Chesed. Putting them in Gan Eden, allowing them to benefit from all the... Why does the Torah choose? Why does the Gemara choose? Why does Rabbi Simlai choose the example of clothing? Vayas Hashem Elokim la'adam u'lishto katnot or vayalbishem as the first example of Chesed in the Torah. Anyone have an idea?
It requires I don't know, but in my point of view, it requires a sacrifice because where you can choose the skin of the animals if they are still alive, they got to have been dead by some way. By way I don't know, but they have to be killed or something like that, and then obtain the skin covering.
And therefore, that's chesed because. So why is that the first example of chesed?
The thing that this is like like in the sacrifices is the
approbation.
in the blood is like this is like spreading the blood is like a way of in the blood is the life, and also the blood was shed.
So you're saying that it's a chesed in the sense that God is elevating the level. Is that what you're saying? I'm just making sure I understand what you're saying. That it's an elevation of the level of the animal world to the human service. Is that what you're saying? Or
Yeah.
Is that the teaching?
Yes.
And that's a chesed, right?
Yeah.
But I accept it. I accept it. And in fact, in the world of Kabbalah, there's always this idea that when you eat an animal, for instance, you're taking the animal, and making it a human being. That's why there's a whole teaching like that in Kabbalah. But is that the first chesed in Torah? Let's say it's a chesed. Why? That's not the first chesed.
It's the first case of an act of redemption, almost, because they had already committed the sin, and they're naked, and it's the first case of instead
so
of
that's
God simply pushing them away and never accepting them, He's saying, no, you can still come back.
Beautiful.
It's the first.
That's what Rav Scheinberg said.
Yeah.
That's the message I would like to share with whoever's watching or listening. Shalom. You're welcome to join us in our class wherever you are. Just show up here. Anyway, maybe the message is that to do chesed with the perfect people, with the sinless people, it's chesed. But that's not the kind of chesed God is teaching us about. If let's say Adam and Eve are sinless, and you do kindness to them, it's very beautiful. We love chesed. For the perfect Adam, for the perfect Eve, chesed. But that's not what this whole world is about. That's not what humankind is about. We don't have any people in this world who are sinless. Everyone does something wrong. The first redemptive act, as you said, it's a beautiful word. The first action of chesed to Adam and Ishto, to Adam and Hava, is after the sin. After the sin. That's chesed. So maybe you understand you're supposed to do chesed. Maybe you're supposed to extend kindness to the people when they're on the highest level of perfection. What about when they fall? What about when they err? What about when they transgress? Can we be involved in chesed there also? And maybe since the Torah is a book of instruction, the Torah Tchilata Gemilut Chasadim teaches us about the notion of chesed, even to those maybe we think, well, it's their own fault. They are the ones who are responsible for this, so we're not responsible to help them. And if we take that attitude, then we don't understand the main messages of chesed. Maybe that's why it's chosen as Torah Tchilata Gemilut Chasadim. In fact, there's a teaching in the Talmud that in the 13 attributes of mercy, it says God's name twice. Vayavar Hashem al panav vayikra. God called out the 13 attributes. Hashem, Hashem. Right? Why twice? One is before the sin, and one is after the sin. That the mercy has to extend even beyond the sin as well. And maybe that's what we have to strive for in our study of Torah. This is a book not only of chesed, but it's a book of chesed even to those that are not yet perfect, even to those that are on levels of transgressions. And interestingly enough, for those people who study numerology, in the gematria, the numerical value of the word Torah is exactly equal. For those people not familiar with the system, every letter in Hebrew is assigned a number. Aleph is 1, Bet is 2, Gimel is 3, etc. The numerical value of the word Torah is exactly identical to the words Gemilut Chasadim. They both equal 611. Torah is 611, Gemilut Chasadim is 611. Maybe the essence, the all-encompassing statement of Torah is Gemilut Chasadim. May we be privileged to study together all of Torah from beginning to end, and may we understand the messages of Gemilut Chasadim. Thank you so much for listening. Okay, so are we davening Mariv?
Simcha, what do you want with your noodles?
Whatever. Hey, everything's good.
Mariv, do we have?
Just didn't know you're coming, so to garlic.
Okay.
Can we daven Mariv? Anybody want to daven with?
Whatever you do
Can
is
we do
fine.
a little Mariv?